when AI took over, I was wondering, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to get replaced by AI? But let me tell you what I'm seeing more. I'm actually seeing better business. I have more people coming to me. And I really thought about it. I'm like, why is that, right? Because AI is going to help you write better. Yes, you can use it to write a LinkedIn post, and with limitations, you can use it to write an email, but AI cannot speak for you. Thank God, because if it could, then I'd be out of business, right? But AI cannot speak for you. AI cannot do that presentation for you. AI will not build trust the way that you can build trust.
Welcome to another version of Raj's Tech Talks. This is the space where we break down how leaders operate at the intersection of technology, execution, and influence. Not theory, not hype, real skills that change how decisions get made and who gets heard. Today's episode is especially relevant for the high performers who do great work but feel invisible in the room. If you have ever walked out of meeting thinking that I had a right answer but did not say the right way, this conversation is for you. Joining me today is Malik, an executive coach and the founder of Introverted Speaker. Welcome, Maria.
Thank you for having me, Raj. I'm really excited for this podcast today.
Yeah. So a little bit about Maria. Maria works with highly capable leaders, directors, senior managers, and rising executives, doctors, lawyers, domains across all domains. People who know the domain cold but gets overlooked because uh, they're not well prepared in how they communicate under pressure. So her work is not about turning introverts into extroverts. It's about helping leaders speak with clarity, authority, precision when it comes to what it matters in executive meetings, promotions, and any conversations that you are having with the leadership team. Uh, Maria teaches practical and repeatable communication skills, how to stop over explaining, how to sound decisive without being aggressive, how to organize your thinking fast and speak in a way that earns respect. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Maria. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Raj. And I think you couldn't have said it better because that's exactly what I do. I'm such a big advocate for helping people find their voice. And that's what my entire brand is built off of. I don't know how much you know about my story, Raj, but I was a big introvert. I really struggled in the corporate world. So when I finally learned how to communicate and I finally learned how to command the room, I was like, wow, someone needs to be teaching this because I noticed such a big difference. I started getting promoted faster. I started getting the jobs that I wanted. I actually started enjoying being at work. So I'm so happy. I kind of found like my niche, which, like you said, it's those introverted leaders that really want to move up the corporate ladder. They don't want to be extroverted, but at the same time, they want to be able to contribute and feel like, wow, I'm glad that I'm here because my voice matters. So super excited to talk to you about this, Raj, and hopefully this can be very informative for the listeners.
Let me ask you first question. You work with high performers who are very technically very strong but get overlooked, right? What is the real issue? What happens when they know so much knowledge? Why they are not able to communicate? It just boggles me.
Yeah, great question, Raj. So I've worked with so many introverted leaders now, and this is the problem that I found. The problem with introverts is we're so intuitive, we're thinkers, we like to observe everything, we like to think before we actually speak. So what ends up happening is in these high stake environments when people are going back and forth, it's very fast paced. It's difficult for an introvert because you're trying to analyze, you're trying to process before you communicate. So what ends up happening is you either shut down or you go blank or it's cognitive over. So you're not able to say what you need to say. That's why when you leave that meeting, you feel like, oh my gosh, I had such a great answer. Why did I not say that? So it's really that, like I said, cognitive overload that stops you from being the best that you can be during these meetings. And it's especially for introverts. Extroverts are very different because when they go in, they just talk out loud. They don't need that extra time like we do. That's why what I teach my clients is I really kind of help them figure out what to say, how to say it fast enough so that you're not missing your moment, so that people can still look at you as a leader. And at the same time, they respect you in that room. So that's what's really going on. If I had to classify it with one or two words, it's cognitive overload.
Get you overload. So here's another question I want to ask. Let's just say you are a leader, but you're not perceived as a leader. What happens like when you don't say the right things at the right time, what happens? What's the impact of it? And how, what, by doing your course or whatever you're teaching, how would it impact their life? Can you talk about that?
Of course. So every meeting, especially those high stake meetings, every presentation, anytime you're speaking in the corporate world, you're really auditioning for leadership. So you're being analyzed. People are looking to see, okay, does this make sense? Is this someone I can trust? Is this someone that is truly a leader? So if you miss out on those opportunities where somebody asks a question and you know the answer, you know what to say, you have a solution to the problem, if you miss out on that, it really helps. It really does destroy your credibility in the corporate world. So sometimes these moments come once in a while. And if you're not prepared for it, then you're losing out. You're losing out on a lot. You're losing out on respect. You're losing out on maybe that promotion. You're also maybe losing out just like being able to show people, like, hey, there's a reason why I'm here and there's a reason why you should listen to me. So, of course, it helps your confidence if you are able to speak well on the spot. It also helps your career. And I think it just helps you as a brand. And I think that's something most people don't talk about enough. Your communication skills really tells people who you are. So if you miss out on those moments, you're going to get overlooked. And there's always going to be someone else that's better than you if you don't improve on this skill. So for me, communication, it's probably the number one skill every leader should know because without that, you will not be able to get to where you want to be.
So it's not only the impact of losing out, but impact of making change in the world because you have a good solution. You could have changed it, transformed the how we do things, but because you couldn't communicate, that's lost. And then obviously the financial impact as well, right? So
Of
you
course.
lose out on promotion means like you lose out on.
Absolutely. And it's not even just your career. It's such a confidence booster too, because a lot of the clients that I work with, Raj, they come back and tell me, oh, you know what, Maria, I feel so confident in myself now that I started my own podcast. I have clients that come back and tell me, hey, Maria, I finally had the courage to apply for that TED Talk and now I'm doing a TED Talk. So it's so much more than just your career and finance. It's just something like you do for yourself as well, just to feel better and not feel invisible anymore. It's such a great feeling, Raj. It really is.
Because I heard that executives, they are good listeners. Why wouldn't they give you time? Why wouldn't they listen to you?
Because it's such a competitive environment at the end of the day. So, like I said, you might have that 1 or 2 minutes to say what you need to say. And I think the problem is also people don't know how to say it. They know what they want to say, but when it comes down to it, they don't know how to get in that last minute, in that, few seconds that you have. So what's really happening is you have all this great information in your mind. You just don't know how to put it into words. And I think one thing I also noticed, Raj, that a lot of the introverted leaders that I work with, they have imposter syndrome too. And that really holds them back. They think, hey, maybe what I need to say is not important enough. Maybe what I need to say is not really going to change anything. And that really holds them back in their career. So definitely a lot going on. But in those high stake meetings, these are the two most common things that I've seen with my clients.
Yeah, that happened to me too. Okay, how does it matter if I can say something, but how does it matter, right? That's what a lot of people think. Hey, how does it matter if I say something or not? So they don't say anything. Next question is like everybody's under pressure nowadays, right? With AI, it's getting worse, right? Things are moving at very fast pace, things like that, right? What causes some of the leaders to ramble when they are put on spot? Like they just say, "Hey, give me an answer for this." Why is that they rumble through their answer?
I think a lot of them because they overthink. And when you overthink, you feel like you have to really justify your points. So you say everything that's on your mind. When you're at an executive level, you're actually supposed to be doing the opposite. You need to say less but mean more. So that's really what I teach my clients. How do you say everything that you have on your mind, but say it in the fewest words possible, but also have the most impact at the same time? Because once you could do that, you, again, as an introvert, you don't need to always be loud, always be talking. You just say those 2, 3 sentences and people look at you and say, wow, that was very good, right? That's what I want to teach my clients because, Raj, I'm sure you've been in those meetings where somebody's just talking and they're rambling, they're jumping from one point to another, and you just lose that person. You're like, wait, where are you going with this? Versus that
Yes.
one person that's always quiet, which most introverts are, and then they say 2 or 3 things and you're like, wow, that's it. That's what we need to do. So the rambling is really an overthinking problem, and you need to be able to control it. Once you do, you'll be able to comfortably say less but mean more.
So say less, but have a greatest impact. That's why you need that communication, that training, that things that you provide. There you go.
Absolutely.
Now come to authority, right? Like, of course, authority not in a negative way, but in a positive way. How do you say certain things? Be authoritative. You should be looked at. Okay, this is the person. If this happens, I need to go to this person, and this person has the answer for me. It's like an authoritative without commanding for that. How do you achieve something like that?
So, authority is gained by many different ways. I think executive presence plays a huge role in that. A lot of people also think, hey, it's just my words that are most important, but it's actually a combination of things. Think about even just public speaking. It's not just the words that you say, but your body language, your tonality, and the words combined together. I think that's really what makes executive presence. So, if you want to build authority, you don't need to just focus on your words. You need to focus on everything from head to toe. How are you sitting? What is your posture like? How are you moving your hands? How are your facial expressions? Because your face says a lot. People read your body language before they look at or hear anything that you've said. So if you want to sound authoritative, if you want to look authoritative, you really have to work on your executive presence.
A question on that. Let's just say I'm a technologist guy, right? I know technology, right? So I know my subject, but why do I need to have this additional skill? What is this additional skill going to bring? Because I know, like, I'm not being arrogant when I say that, but I work in this environment that I know in and out, right? So as an executive, you feel the same way, right? Okay, I know this process. Why can I be an assumed authority rather than have to prove my authority?
That's a really good point you brought up, Raj, because authority is perceived when you show people what you can do, right? So you could be the type of person that sits there and works really, really hard. And you see this. There's those really studious workers, people that are so smart, but when you put them in a meeting, they have no leadership skills because they don't know what to say and how to say it. So once you're able to communicate what you're doing, that's when people really realize your worth. I think this is why I have so many clients in the IT world because they've been trained to do the tasks, but they don't know how to actually communicate what they're doing. Because if you can't communicate what you've done, you're going to get overlooked. And this is also why I love working with introverts because they're so smart because they're the ones that sat there, learned everything, processed everything. They think before they speak. That only missing element is being able to communicate and show people, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. Look at X, Y, and Z that I've done. So once you can communicate that, it just completely changes the game. And I think that's why a lot of my clients get promoted faster. They get the jobs that they want. It's because they're already super smart but now they have that extra skill that pushes them to the next level.
There you go. We all need that. And talk about when you talk to executives, right? Especially like doctors or lawyers. What is one habit or that they do really good and one habit that they really, really need to improve? Of course, besides being communications, that what are the habits? Like what is the high performance habits looks like to you?
Good question. I think a habit that most high performers have is like what we were talking about right now. I think they focus too much on the tasks and not enough on the communication part. But other than communication, I think a habit that most of these high level leaders have is they're not putting themselves out there enough. And I think it is because of a confidence issue. They don't know what they're going to do. Like, I'll give you that example where I had a client, she was a software engineer and she had just gotten promoted. Now she's doing all these presents. She did her job really well, but now she couldn't do presentations. So we started working together taught her how to do presentations. I taught her how to present the most boring topics and make them very intricate and sound very interesting. Once she started doing that, she's one of my clients that went on to do a TED talk because she was like, wow, I would have never put myself outside my comfort zone if I didn't know how to communicate. So I think that's something that a lot of introverted leaders hold themselves back from. They have so much more potential. And this is why I love doing what I do. Because once I start working with my clients, they're like, oh, I didn't know I could do this too. And I could do that too. And they'd really start to put themselves out there. And Raj, we're in a world right now where online world, it's so huge, right? So if you cannot comfortably get on camera, that's going to hold you back. If you can't write Like, for example, on LinkedIn, that's going to hold you back. If you don't promote yourself through whichever means, social media, through presentations, through TED Talks and that type of stuff, then someone else is going to come and do it and you're going to be forgotten. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yes, it does. It does. And also being on LinkedIn, social media presence and all that. Tell me something about how personal branding affects executives as well.
Great question.
And what should they do to get their presence, right? Personal branding is key. A lot of people miss out on this aspect. Can you tell more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think whether you like it or not, you are a brand. And the way that people perceive you now is what your online presence is. Most executives don't have an online presence, and that's the problem because let's say you want to hire a very good team. If you interview someone that's going to be an excellent candidate, they're going to Google you. They're going to search for you. And what are they going to see? If they don't see anything, they're going to wonder like, is this the type of leader that I can trust? But if they Google you and they find, let's say you did a podcast, let's say you went on, maybe like a radio show or something, or let's say you did a presentation and you put that online, they're going to be able to build so much trust with that person. That person will want to work with you. So whether we like it or not, we're being Googled and your online footprint does matter for your branding. So it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, you should have some type of online footprint because it's only going to help you in the long run.
Yeah, and the other thing I also like I wanted to ask you is like how how is it practical? How easy is it for a guy, for anybody, should I say, to implement this because they've been doing certain things certain way for a very long time, and now you're saying, hey, communicate, be personal brand, all this. So how is this communication? Is that going to overwhelm the person? Is it going to be easy to learn? How is that going to work?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer this in two parts, Raj. So the communication part, of course, if you feel like you are behind, or I basically, this is something I'm seeing a lot. A lot of the clients that I'm working with now, they tell me, Maria, when I was younger, I had so much more, energy, and I felt like I could command a room better. But as I'm getting older in this leadership role, I'm feeling less and less confident in myself. Like I don't know what's going on. I'm seeing a huge shift. That's why a lot of the executives that I work with, they're directors, they're CEOs, because they feel like now they're in a place where they don't have that confidence anymore. So, number one, if you are at that place where you've already made it at a successful role, invest in communication. I promise you, it's going to help you so much in your personal life, in your professional life, and all of that. The second thing about your presence and all of that, the best thing to do, Raj, not to overwhelm yourself. And I'll give you an example of this. I had a friend, she works in contracting. So she said she used to look for clients, she would email them, she wouldn't get a response. So what she started to do, which I think is brilliant. She started to post once a week on LinkedIn. And after a few months, she had lots of posts. So now when she emails people, she puts her LinkedIn link there. People click on it and they get to know her so much better. So she starts getting more responses from people because now it's not a stranger. Now they kind of know who she is. She's kind of proven her authority by writing about certain topics. So it does compound after a while, right? And the great thing also is LinkedIn shows up as one of the first things when people search you. It has really good SEO. So that's something I would recommend. Even if you don't want to be a LinkedIn influencer, you're not trying to take your business online, that's totally fine. If you're an executive, get out there, post just once a week. That's all you have to do. Talk about a topic that you enjoy talking about because it is going to show up for other people and it's going to build a lot of trust.
And regarding AI, right? So everything is getting replaced by AI. Okay, you go there. Before you used to hire VAs and others to do your social media posting, come up with, you and your team come up with this. But now everybody says, okay, AI can do this, AI can do that, claw bot, this bot, that bot. Everything is AI, right? Why should anybody invest in you? Or AI is going to replace people? This is general question across everybody, right? Even IT professionals getting asked, right? So I'm asked the same question: is AI taking over your business too, or how do you perceive that?
I love that you asked me this question, Raj, because when AI took over, I was wondering, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to get replaced by AI? But let me tell you what I'm seeing more. I'm actually seeing better business. I have more people coming to me. And I really thought about it. I'm like, why is that? Right? Because AI is going to help you write better. Yes, you can use it to write a LinkedIn post, and with limitations, you can use it to write an email, but AI cannot speak for you. Thank God. Because if it could, then I'd be out of business, right? But AI cannot speak for you. AI cannot do that presentation for you. AI will not build trust the way that you can build trust. So that is why my business right now and communication skills, it's AI proof. So, like I said, this is one thing AI cannot take from you. And the great thing also with this, Raj, is if you learn communication skills, people are going to notice the difference between, hey, somebody coming online using AI, writing a script, speaking, versus when they see you in person, when they see you live and you speak, it's really going to help you stand out because now more and more people are using AI, more and more people are thinking less. Sometimes even me, like if I need the most basic thing, I'll just ask AI, like, what is this, right? So if you have good communication skills, you're really going to stand out in a world of AI because AI cannot mimic human behavior, unfortunately, and or fortunately for us. So that's why for me, it's not affecting my business at all. If anything, it's doing the opposite because people are using AI so much now. They're like, wait, I forgot how to speak as well. I forgot how to do this, or I need to stand out. How do I do it? So yeah, for me, I was worried, but I'm seeing the exact opposite effect, which is great.
What should leaders who are in this introvert space where they're not able to make the impact that they would like to make, what should they do? And also talk about your business itself, because I know you have LinkedIn presence. I have followed you in LinkedIn, but I do not know about other social media platforms where you are. But I know you are at 260, 70,000 followers. So that's congratulations to you. Talk about that as a closing mark.
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say that I know for a fact that my communication skills are what got me to that 250, 260,000 followers because when I came onto LinkedIn, think about even LinkedIn, right? The videos that I create, it's communication. The writing, that helps me because I know how to communicate. So when you know how to communicate, it helps you in all aspects of life. It not only helped me in my career, it helped me get the jobs that I wanted, got me the promotions. It helped me with my own business because at the end of the day, we're still communicating with other human beings. It doesn't matter in one way or another. Even if AI, like I don't see a world where we would not need communication skills. So my business is built off of really good communication skills. And the program that I've built, it's so effective because I've been doing this now for 6 years that people see such fast results so quickly. And my entire point here is that your communication skills are going to take you so far. It doesn't matter what you're trying to do. Start a business, maybe start a podcast, maybe you just want to stay in the corporate world. You have to learn to communicate because at one point or another, those communication skills will come in handy. So I have been very fortunate that I was already very good at communication, but I perfected it and got made it better and better. There was a time I was terrified of public speaking. I hated it, Raj. I would call in sick because I had to do a presentation. I would walk away from so many opportunities. But as soon as I learned how to communicate, it became more enjoyable. And that is what helped me build my brand. That's what helped me build my business. That's what helps me get all of these amazing opportunities today. So if you are brilliant, if you are smart, if you're an introvert, make sure your communication skills match your level of expertise because that's what's going to take you to the next level.
Last question I wanted to ask you. You're so young and you chose an entrepreneurial journey. Most of us chose corporate, right? We have the safety net of paycheck coming every week, every other week or whatever. What do you advise to those young people who want to chase the corporate dream or go entrepreneurial route and be your own boss?
I
What do you
would,
see?
yeah, great question. I would say do both, right? In a world today with the help of AI, there's no reason why you can't post once or twice a week on LinkedIn. There's no reason why, like, I have just hired a VA, but for the past 6 years, I've been doing everything myself, Raj, right? And there was a time where I was still working and I was trying to be an entrepreneur. Yes, it's a bit more difficult now, but if this was me, if I was in the corporate world right now, I would be doing both because then I would still have my steady paycheck coming in, but I would have a VA that's AI helping me through everything. AI is really good if you know how to use it at the end of the day, right? So you can balance both right now. That's the beauty of it. So instead of running away from AI or thinking, oh, it's not going to help me, like utilize AI, maintain your career, and then you will come to a point where you'll be making more money, more everything. Like it really depends on what you want to, right? Like for me, freedom was so important. I'm an introvert. I wanted to be at home. I hated traveling like for an hour to go to work. So depending on what your goal is, if you do want to become an entrepreneur, by the way, if I can do it, you can, trust me. Keep your job, use the help of AI, start something. We have so many hours in the day. You just need 1 hour a day to kind of start your business. And then maybe you'll get to the point where you're like, hey, I can quit my job and just do this full time. I see so many people do this, and I'm very glad that I did it. I, for one, would not be going back to the corporate world now. I was in the corporate world, Raj, for 10 years. It was great. But like I said, if you just start something, build it, it's all consistency at the end of the day. It might take you 1 year, 2 years, but imagine 20 years later, you have this business that's like generating revenue, you built a personal brand, you could stay at home, spend time with your family. It's completely worth it. So work hard now, you'll be rewarded for it later.
Thank you. With that, I really appreciate your conversation with you today. And what's your website again, where people can sign up if they need this extra communication skills that will bring them to the next level?
www.theintrovertedspeaker. From there, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I just started posting on Instagram and YouTube as well. So that would be the best place.
Thank you so much. Enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much, Raj.